Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm your host, Jessica. I'm joined here by Tony. I'm Too Hot Tea.
Yeah,
Um,
I've melted. I am now. Well, just put it this way. This is kind of the reason why I'm a skeleton. Like, it just all
your
melted
bones
away.
made well.
Yeah, it's too bloody hot.
I'm fine because I have the AC on right now with RTX
Yeah,
voice. Hopefully, it doesn't affect the audio quality too much, but if it does, I'm sorry. There's a heat wave in the UK right now.
yeah, it's insane right now.
But
It's like still 29 or 28 degrees or something, isn't it? C. I'm not. We
degrees
don't do
Celsius. We
Fahrenheit.
don't do freedom units
I
here.
don't know what. Yeah, what are freedom units? I
It
don't even
says
know.
27 degrees Celsius, 28.
Okay.
Feels like 20. I love it, the feels like one. It's like, yeah,
Well,
it feels like it's hotter. It's
Well,
because of
yeah, because
wind
there's
and
like there's
stuff.
like there's two other things. It's like because you can get more heating from being in direct sunlight, and if you can't cool down because of the humidity, you'll feel even hotter.
And wind speed's a big one.
Yeah, and wind, but then wind is the one that then lowers it. But those are the two that raise it up. But yeah, I don't. There's no wind where I am, so like it might as well just be 29 for me. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, there we go.
I thought we just call this episode complaining about the sun.
Complaining about the sun.
Like I'm ready, Joe. I'm ready for snow. Like I'm ready for snow anytime.
I'm still on the. I love the summertime, so I'm still like on the hype train.
Right. I just hate being hot. I like being cold.
Well, you know what? You know what loves
Warming
the.
up is
Yeah,
easier.
you know what loves the sun. Solar
Uh,
panels.
true.
And you've
But
just
we've
got
got
some
some
new
more.
solar
Yeah,
panels.
we've got new solar panels and some batteries to store it. First day was pretty good. We didn't use the grid much at all. It's like a few hundred watts, I think, or a few hundred watt hours, and that's about it, if that.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, though, last night someone was trying to steal our power. I don't know what happened, but
Mr.
we had to
Burns
use
was
grid power.
angry.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. We had to use grid power at like 3 a.m. or something. Then the sun came out and started to actually be useful about 7 a.m. I want to say maybe like 6:30 or something. Because we got east and west facing solar powers now. But yeah, we should be in the summer. We should be like quite self-sufficient though, so it should be pretty good.
Hmm.
Try to do our part to save
And
the planet.
save the planet by getting an AC. That's another way you could save the
Yeah,
planet. Cool it
yeah.
down, global warming.
I would say if you are interested in solar panels and you care about the planet, it does take I think about 6 years to pay off the the CO2 cost of
Right.
production that you would
And then it
save from
takes
like just
what?
normal grid.
It's like 10 years to pay off the cost or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. For our installation on the cost, it's going to take about 10 years.
Hmm. So
But
I
my dad
was.
was like, I'm gonna get it now, so like by the time I retire, like it'll be able to like I won't have to like it'll be paid off, and it'll just be like reducing the monthly income or monthly outgoings for electricity at that point. So it'll be better then.
There's always something I said to my dad that was like, why didn't you get solar panels? And he's like, oh, because it takes too long to pay off. But the last time I said that, he would have paid them off by now and they would have
Yeah,
been
yeah, I know.
generating
As well,
electricity.
if you're concerned, this solar panels are much better than they used to be. Batteries are still a little bit iffy, in my opinion. So if you're gonna go for something and I want to get the least amount of the least amount of time for the payback, just go for solar panels. If you're trying to just like be off grid, like so like try and save power and things, that's kind of why we've got batteries. But solar panels these days are rated for 30 years at like 85% of the max production, so they
Hmm.
shouldn't lose too much of the input power.
Pretty
So
cool.
they last quite a while. Like before, like the early solar panels like only had like a lifespan of like 15 years, right? And then it's like, oh, it takes 15 years to pay it off. Like that's not really worth it. But it's a lot better now.
Right, let's get into the trailers.
That's to it. That's to it. I'm ready.
Nickelodeon's All Star Bros. We're coming in with a big one. That's right,
This is
guys.
the biggest one.
Nickelodeon Smash official announcement trailer. You can now see
Who asked for this?
I did. You can
You
now
did.
see
Okay.
SpongeBob fight the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in what I can only describe as Nickelodeon Super Smash Bros. That's exactly what this is. I mean,
I don't know who half of these characters are, Joe.
right.
I know SpongeBob and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I just put it on it because I saw it and I was like, yeah, cool. Apparently, like the devs hope that it becomes like a big competitive game, from what like's been said.
Nigel Thornberry. Hang on.
Yeah, he's in
This is my main
Nickelodeon.
game.
Yeah, it's coming big time. This is coming fall 2021. So it's going to be big time.
They fucking own Nigel Thornberry. What the hell?
Online multiplayer. You'll love to see that.
Helga from what's his name? What's that called? Guy with the rugby ball head.
I don't know half these characters, so
Bernard.
I don't know that show.
Okay.
Some of these are too like either I didn't see them, or is that the fucking dinosaur from Rugrats?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is a show I definitely did watch.
They know the Fairly Odd Parents.
Nickelodeon, do they do Fairly Odd Parents? I'm not sure.
I thought they did because they had the guy that like catches ghosts that looks just like Timmy, whatever his name is.
And they also developed a fighting game called Slap City.
What?
Yeah, so it's from a developer who's already made like a fighting game before, which is kind of interesting.
Right, but now they're dipping into the franchise they love.
But yeah, anyway, that will be coming out on every platform but PC, it seems. So
yeah,
because they did like the Nickelodeon kart racing game, and I was like, this looks okay. And then it was like not coming to PC because fuck yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess didn't want to make a PC port. No. But why do you put resources into it? Okay, maybe more people will play. I guess more people will play on Switch maybe than PC. You could put it on Steam Deck, guys, if you make a Switch port.
the new Switch.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh.
Stop telling me you saw it from E3. Death Stranding Director's Cut coming September 24th, 2021. Will be a $10 upgrade for current owners, $50 upgrade if you want to buy the standard edition, or $60 for the digital deluxe edition. I love to see some more naked Norman Reese on my screen.
But what's actually different?
So you get more weapons, equipment, and vehicles. You get a variety of new modes, missions, and areas to explore. There's an expanded storyline and enhancements to the UI. Ramps, that's a big one, guys. You can jump up ramps and stuff when you're delivering your packages across the world. And all the Half-Life and Cyberpunk content that was added to the PC version is also coming to the Director's Cut version as well. Okay.
So if you're one of those chumps that didn't buy a Director's Cut version, then fuck you, I think.
Yeah. Anyway. Advanced combat, upgraded melee. I'm going to skip to the ramps. That's the important part. Look.
Yeah, the ramps.
There it is. You'll love to see it. There is generally some really interesting like vehicles and stuff. Like, if you're somebody who just went into Death Stranding, oh my god, there's a race circuit so you can race around in. If somebody went to like Death Stranding and was like, I just want to go and deliver packages to more places, this is probably the game for you.
Well, I don't have a problem with like vehicle delivering packages. I just find like it really annoying just like walk around to deliver packages. That seems just really dumb to me.
Anyway. Next up we have The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Next Gen update is still coming this year, as it's always been announced to be coming this year. So they said, yeah, it's definitely coming this year. So probably December time to go along with the Season 2 release of the next show, which made the game very popular the last time Season 1 released.
Are they definitely like postponing it until the Season 2 Netflix series comes out?
Well, we don't know, but this is just
we suspect
speculation.
That. Yeah. And that's still slated to come out.
Well, the reason I would put money on this is it's coming with Netflix-inspired DLC. So they're actually making DLC for The Witcher 3 from... When did this game even come out, The Witcher 3? 2013?
40? Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say 2014, but I don't actually know.
I don't remember. Initial release date, 2015. Okay. So a game from like 6 years ago is getting new DLC, which is always fun to see. And
It's still a great game in my opinion. Like even like today, like I know it's not that old, but like it's still I don't know. It's a really good game.
Yeah, well, it'll look even better with ray tracing and next gen
Oh yeah,
updates.
yeah,
So check that
absolutely.
out. We're gonna
I'm looking forward to Digital Foundry video on this.
Speaking of upgrades to games looking better, DLSS is out for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Nice.
From watching the 2 clips, Philip's video seems best used at high resolutions and quality presets. So
yeah, that makes sense.
If you're running the game at 4K, you're going to see a big improvement, and if you're running at like 1440p or something, you want to try and even want to upscale it to get the best improvement from
really help, does it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the reason is that the Rockstar engine already uses checkerboarding like built into their engine in like all their games from like GTA to Red Dead. So it's like this weird fight between the method used for anti-aliasing and DLSS, like fight against each other, and there's like weird artifacts where it fucks up hair and
that's unfortunate.
But then there's some areas where it's better, with like tree leaves and stuff that are far away. If you've got it in like high enough resolution or quality, it usually does a better job than TAA, the standard anti-aliasing. And so it seems like if you're high resolution and you have the quality preset, it's going to give you better looking game overall, and it also gives you an FPS boost. So up to 45% at 4K according to NVIDIA. That's based on their benchmarks. Next up, we have EA on Battlefield 2042 AI bots that will help fill up the servers will not be an opt-out thing. To make sure all the big battles servers are populated, I guess. This is one of the things they talked about, some like crossplay stuff, but this was the part I found interesting.
I guess, like if it's like Titanfall 2, it's like a part of the game, that kind of makes sense to me. But this kind of feels like just like filling out the numbers.
Well, Titanfall 2 was like you had the NPCs, and then you would, after you killed enough, you could get into a mech, and it was like a weird system.
But it was a part of the game. It wasn't like we're filling out where a human player would be with an NPC.
But these are going to be like fully fledged, like player level, bots, basically.
Yeah.
I find it strange that they're never going to have the ability to be turned off. It won't be an opt-out thing. Like when
but people get turned off by just flooding one map with like lots of players.
Yeah, but what if you just wanted to play like 4v4?
Yeah, I know.
Or something like I don't know.
But maybe that's still better to have bots, and then it feels like the battlefield is like full of people, and you want to definitely have to deal with NPCs and your opponents.
I think having bots is always a cool thing.
It should be an option. They should be always an option to like turn these things off.
They have had like some good results with like AI-based bots in their other games. I think it was like Battlefield 1 maybe was the one they used like AI neural link or something to make something like that, where they use like AI bots, and they were really good until they came up to like a wall and they would just like run in circles.
Okay.
So obviously, I think these are going to still be like nowhere near as like well-rounded as human players, but they'll probably at least be a little bit serviceable.
Yeah.
Let's see. I just find it weird that it's not opt-out. I thought that was just strange. That
I don't have a problem with it being on by default, but it should be like be able to turn it off if you want.
Speaking of Titanfall, actually, Titanfall 1+2.
Before we come on, did we also learn that 2042 would like always be an online experience? Like you can never play it like as a LAN or offline.
I don't know. I hadn't heard that.
Okay, I feel like we learned that this week as well.
Battlefield 2042 is always online, including using AI bots in practice. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if all you want to do is train against AI soldiers on your own, it will always be online. Yeah, I think that's just a reality of most games. Because it doesn't have a single-player campaign either, so there's not much
but that means
there's
no LAN option. There's no like if the servers go down, like you're completely fucked.
Yeah,
it's just like really bad for archiving and then like playing it on.
If you want to play Battlefield 2042 on a LAN, you'll bring your friends' Steam decks to each other's houses.
Yeah. It's just a real shame to me. Like,
Anyway.
I understand the majority of it would always be online, but just like not having the option at all to be online just like doesn't make any sense.
Titanfall 1+2 multiplayer has been unplayable for a while now due to a hacker. So if you don't know, someone hacked into Titanfall 1 and 2, basically
Oh, this is 1 and 2. I didn't realize it was both.
I think, yeah, both multiplayers have been.
I didn't realize that. Holy shit.
So basically what happens is he fills the servers full of bots, and if you manage to get into a spot on the server, then it just automatically kicks you. So it's basically completely bugged. Basically, the hacker's saying it was so easy to like hack into EA's servers to Titanfall. I'm doing this as a demonstration against like
you
need to upgrade your security.
Well, those they made it to Titanfall 1 you couldn't even play as well, right? Was that meant to be back up or something? Like I thought Titanfall 1 was basically dead after like all the review bombs of Titanfall 1 and 2 for some reason.
And then there was like a group of vigilante hackers who hacked Apex Legends, and then they made it show a link in the menu that linked to like a Save Titanfall website, which then like showed an image that sent you to a website that was like, "Hey, help us save Titanfall 2. Let EA know that this is happening." And basically, I think everyone at EA now is working on Apex. It says Titanfall 2. There's only 1 to 2 people left working on the franchise. Everyone at Respawn is working on Apex Legends at this point.
Yeah.
Because I know people at Respawn were complaining like, "Oh, I had to like take time off from seeing my children to sort out this hacking issue," where people were like adding stuff to the menu in Apex Legends to try and get us to look at Titanfall. We kind of know about this, but this is not the way to get us to look at it. Is to hack into our servers. But
yeah,
I don't agree with the hacking. On the other hand, Titanfall 1 and 2 has been unplayable for a really long time now, like the multiplayer. So, and I believe like Titanfall 1 doesn't have a single. I don't think Titanfall 1 has a single. I think it's only like multiplayer.
Yeah, true.
So it's completely unplayable. So yeah,
but like this is like with the review bombs that review bomb like 1 and 2, and it's like I don't think like review bombing 1 because of my play is rubbish. That makes sense because not really review bombing at that point. It's like this product is now dead, and then like Titanfall 2 though like it's still playable like in terms of single player. I guess multiplayer was still working until they got hacked, but yeah.
Someone in the comments complaining, I don't listen to Reddit about TF2. If I want to play a game with the initials TF2 that the company doesn't care about anymore, I'll just play Team Fortress 2. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but TF2 and TF2 both have fucking developers that just don't give a shit about them and have 2 people working on them. So yeah, that's
the curse of TF2.
List some statements. TF2 has 2 people working on it. TF2 is a source game in the Source engine.
This is just unilaterally true across all TF2s.
Just all TF2s, yeah. Anyway, kind of shitty. Hopefully something gets done about this. Kind of a unfortunate issue.
Yeah.
No PC edition version for Judgment. We announced this before, but it seems to be due to a dispute between Sega and the main actor's talent agency, and this is probably why there won't be any more future games in the Judgment series. If you don't know, Judgment is an offshoot of the Yakuza franchise from Sega. It seems like Sega wanted to publish Lost Judgment on PC and Steam to further extend the series' audience, and the protagonist actor Takuya Kimura, talent agency refrained from him doing so due to their very strict portrait rights policy. So this is like a Japanese like artist thing where he was working on the game, and because of the big like reach of the talent agency, they have this clause in the contract that says, I read it verbatim, a PC platform that is not a game console platform and connects directly to the internet. They did not want their talent's portrait on that service.
Why? Okay.
Wait till they find out that game consoles. Wait till they find out game consoles connect to the internet. That's gonna blow their mind.
Yeah, I don't understand that one. Like, I understand like you want to like keep control of like where they can and can't do it, but it seems like a really odd dispute in
Yeah,
terms
I think
of
the game's
where
on
they're allowed to.
console. Why would
Because
having the game on PC hurt the reputation of the
I
actor?
would
I
have
don't understand.
assumed I could understand like they weren't getting enough like royalties, or like they weren't like getting enough like money like to like they were only going to get like profits on the console or something, and like that Sega was going to keep all of it for PC stuff. Like I could, that makes sense, but like, this kind of doesn't make any sense to me. It's a bit weird. Or maybe they need to like make a new contract with it. Maybe that's what they want them to do. I don't know. This seems very weird.
Mhm. All right, let's go on to the business news. Oh wait, no. I'll do one more quick.
One quickly.
Warframe is coming out on mobile. There will be crossplay and cross save in development.
What's a cross slave? Hang on. Is that a safer word Googleable? Can I Google that?
You can try it. I don't know.
Right.
Cross save, so you'll be able to like play on mobile console, and then your progression and your saves will transfer over to the mobile version and the PC version as well. So that's I think it was at like TennoCon or something. I believe that's the Warframe thing. I don't really
Yeah.
know because I don't really play Warframe. So interesting for people who do. Business news. You got your stamps ready, Tony?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, business news. Atari Gaming is moving away from free-to-play and mobile games and wants to refocus on premium PC and console titles.
Okay. Interesting.
It's a French.
I mean,
So basically, this is the French company Infograms, which bought the name and then rebranded, basically to be Atari Gaming. So this isn't like the OG Atari Gaming. It's a French company who bought the rights to the name.
In a way, that's kind of better because I don't really trust the original Atari.
Well, wait till you hear this, Tony. The French company's actually been in all sorts of like real money gambling and shady cryptocurrency stuff.
Oh no.
So I don't know if these are the people you want to trust with the Atari franchise. Although Infogrames was once a producer of quality games, like a decade ago, with games such as Alone in the Dark and Silver, which are classic games, for example, that some people consider to be good. So
yeah, some people like those games. I'm not sure about either of those things personally, but yeah, people like them.
So if they do less of the gambling stuff and more of actually, make some premium PC games, sure, maybe we'll give them a second chance.
I would give them I'll give them a second chance, but don't fuck it up.
Next up, we have Amazon is shifting Lumberyard to be an open source 3D engine supported by 20 companies. I've talked about Lumberyard in the past because they force all their stuff to be made in it, like EA does with Frostbite. They famously using it to build New World. I believe, is it called New World?
Yeah, the MMO is New World.
The MMO New World, which is people are kind of hyped for.
Colin is no longer on.
Sorry?
Our good friend Colin is no longer on, so
no, he's gone back to Guild Wars 2, so we'll see how they do without Colin. Although technically, according to the job listings, Colin was working at Crucible.
Yeah, but I thought the other thing was like that basically everyone was like switched to New World at some point.
Anyway, Lumberyard, it's basically a modified version of CryEngine 3.6.
Okay.
They had a deal with CryEngine where they were like their deal was that they could tweak it however they want it and then use that engine and then give it to other people and use it however they see it fit, was part of their license agreement. Amazon's original goal was actually they were going to be offering the engine for free on the condition you sold your game through Amazon. That way they could do like an Epic Unreal Engine sort of thing where it's like, hey, you get a better cut if you sell it in our store or something like that. You could also sell it elsewhere. You would just have to at least have it available through the Amazon store.
Oh, right. Okay.
Not many people picked up on this offer, as you can tell by no games on the Amazon store and no one working in Lumberyard.
Can I just say, I had the misfortune to. I wanted to check, like, I wanted to go to the Amazon Game Store to see what games I had. I have no idea how to get that list up. Like, I don't
Right.
understand, like, how I'm supposed to see that on the
I got Amazon.
Amazon Game Store.
I got Amazon gift cards, and then I used to buy The Witcher 3. Which then I think this is before the Amazon store. Are you talking about Twitch Prime games?
Yeah. Like,
Okay,
how am I
I'm
supposed to
talking
see
about. But
that?
I'm talking. You need to download the Amazon app. Oh, what's it called?
But I can't see that
Amazon
online. I
Games
have to
app.
download the app
No, you
itself.
have to download the Amazon
Oh
Games
my
app.
god.
Hmm
Yeah, because I went to the reason why I said it because I went to Amazon Games to like see other stuff on there, so like
Because
that was made more
because
sense.
they had the Twitch app, which is pretty good because they owned Curse Forge, and so
Yes.
you could look at your Twitch Prime games on the Twitch app, and you could use Curse Forge, which was a really
Can
good
I?
utility for mods. They sold off Curse Forge to Overwolf,
Yeah.
and then they completely cut the Twitch Prime game section into its own
Can
Amazon
I?
Games app, and
Can
then
I
it
just
just
say?
completely killed the Twitch app because there's no point to
Yeah.
using it now.
I feel really bad for the people behind Curse because I think they put like a lot of really good like ideas. They put a lot of effort into like making it really good, and like other companies that don't know what they're doing buy them instead with that have money. Like it's really, really
I
sad.
think that's the problem with companies like Curse and
They're
other
too
like
good for themselves.
Nexus. Even like Nexus obviously
Yeah.
I think is doing well still. Not as,
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a miracle in a way that I wouldn't be expecting. I think
but the
most other
problem is
sites doing mods
they
don't
keep
do
making
well.
consistently good like updates and products, and then they give them out for free, and then
Yeah,
they have really struggled to monetize, and then they just like crush under the weight of all of the people using the service. I think what
yeah.
happens,
Whereas Nexus at least like gives you a way to pay them to be able to like support the servers and
which is
things.
why I think Curse had to like
Oh
go
yeah,
for
yeah.
the Twitch acquisition, and they
Yeah,
had to go
I
for
don't have
the.
a problem with Curse doing that. It's just a shame that they had to. Like, it's a shame they couldn't support themselves because I feel like they knew what they were doing more than these buffoons.
But yeah. Um, so the most notable game that was using this engine is actually our old friend Star Citizen.
Oh
So if you
really?
don't know, Star Citizen
Okay.
is originally made in CryEngine,
Yes, yes, it
and
is.
they
Or
switched to
was.
Amazon's Lumberyard because all of their tools would work and they could skip the license fees,
Yeah, for that.
which in turn actually led to a court case.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, which was pretty interesting.
there's been a weird thing with like throughout all Star Citizen's history. They have like these weird like they just like always upgraded the engine for some reason. Like normally you would just like stick
Mhm.
with. To be fair, like other games they upgrade as well, but like they would have like these really long hiatuses where they're upgrading the engine, like re-import stuff, and it's like okay, but you keep doing it. Like why not just like why do you need the like for like Satisfactory for example done it for like better performance for example. It's like
Yeah.
you normally would do it for a reason. But we don't know what the reason is for Star Citizen, why they kept having to do it. It's
I
like
don't
it's almost
know.
like they wanted new
You might want to put
features.
in like a killer feature like ray tracing, or
Yeah,
there would
they
probably be like a like a more not
I
surface
reckon it
level
is just for more
change.
fidelity.
It's like, oh, you can get better stacking or stuff like that.
Yeah,
Stuff that
yeah.
the end user wouldn't see. Better
But I think for Star Citizen, they
volumetric
always they want
polygons.
to release as like this like best premium like looking thing ever. So they need to keep having to upgrade just like to maintain that 'cause it takes so long to make.
So basically, the Umbreon engine, they use it for all their games, Crucible, New World. I've heard from Amazon devs, it is not easy to work with based on their feedback, especially using it to make an MMO. But New World
Yeah.
is interesting, so we'll have to see how that actually comes to turn out. It's the first initiative of a new open 3D foundation headed up by the Linux Foundation. So
Interesting.
it's going to be interesting to see how this turns
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Then we have the Amazon games. The Amazon personal games policy is really restrictive. So we've had like an article here about somebody who was going to work at Amazon Games but decided not to take the job, and he basically said the Amazon Games personal games policy is fucking ridiculous. So I just read out some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So you start to really know it's kind of like, okay, this makes sense. My personal game will be based on not conflict with Amazon's properties. That's fair enough.
That's fair. That's very fair. That's almost all companies.
I will not use Amazon resources and information for the development. Fair enough.
Yep. That's almost like an NDA thing.
I will work on my personal game from outside my regular working hours. That is completely reasonable. You can't work on your own game at work.
Yep, that's very fair.
And then it starts to get like kind of interesting is to help Amazon improve its platform, I will make my personal game available via Amazon whenever possible. E.g., if it's a mobile game, I will submit it to the Amazon App Store. If it's a PC game, it'll be made available for sale. I will submit it for state on the Amazon platform. And I will provide feedback on these platforms where practical.
Yeah. And even if you like hide that you made a game, then release it after you leave, like that you have that in a contract, so they could actually take you to court. That's pretty sure.
They also have this line about I will own my personal game, which is like understandable. Then it also have a line on I grant to Amazon a royalty-free, worldwide, fully paid-up, perpetual transferable license to any and all of my intellectual property rights associated with personal game development. So,
right. Don't work for Amazon. It's what I'm getting from this. But
so they're saying you own it, but then in the same paragraph they're saying that they own it.
Technically, yeah.
Oh, also, another really interesting one was you're not allowed to work with anyone not employed by Amazon. So if you're making your own personal game outside of company hours, if Bob works at Microsoft, that's against the policy. You're not allowed to do that.
What the fuck? Why?
Yeah,
I will say I have a really big problem with like business saying that they own your ideas. Like I'm outright no. I will refuse to sign any contract that has that in. Like no, you don't.
The first four
if
ones.
You want to incentivize me to give it to you? Fine, but I own my own stuff until I do that.
The first four, like on the agreement's fine. I think these are understandable. Like,
yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. Don't use our resources to like fund your own like personal stuff. That makes sense.
Yeah, the next four are like completely fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah.
They say
basically in any legal sense you don't own your game, even though we tell you that.
Here's another one. To help Amazon improve its products and services, you must use their publicly available products and services. So if you're making like an online game, you'll have to like use Amazon web servers.
You can't then use anything you want. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I'm using an identity broker for my personal account, I'll use Amazon Cognito. What the fuck is Amazon Cognito? This must be a developer thing.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a solution to control access to Amazon web server resources from your app.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
It just seems really
maybe
dumb.
If you're logging into
it sounds
server,
like you never want to work for Amazon. Like, no matter what rung you are, like it's just some sort of shit thing you have to deal with. Unless you're Jeff Bezos, but I don't think he works for Amazon. I think he
doesn't work for Amazon anymore.
Well, he still gets money from them.
He stepped down.
Yeah, but he still gets money from them. Like,
but didn't he went like because he went to like chairman.
Yeah.
And then he like officially stepped down. No, he did it again. He stepped down from being chair. Mm-hmm. I think he's like officially retired now to go work on these spaceship.
Yeah,
which is what billionaires do now.
But I still believe he still funnels money away from it. Like I think he still owns enough shares to like keep like not dividends because like you need to be on the director's board at that point. But I think he still gets money from it.
Yeah. Delays, cancellations, and announcements. Warhammer 4000 Dark Tide has been delayed to spring 2022. That is the Fact Shark Vermintide style game with guns. It's like Left 4 Dead, but it's like Vermintide with guns.
What? Okay.
Ghostwire Tokyo has been delayed to next year, and Rainbow Six Extraction, and I think, was it Riders Rebellion or whatever the snowboarding game thing was, has been delayed to January next year. And let's talk about...
Don't they know it's Fuck You, it's January? Like, do they want to release it at the same time?
No, let's talk about the news while we're all here, guys.
Real news.
The real news. I was like, there's so little, like, outside news, it doesn't matter. I'm going to spend an hour talking about the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Let's jump right in this because I don't know if you want to do timestamps for this because I've kind of broken it down. I think if people want to know about
I will.
hardware, graphics, software, stuff like that, I'll break it down for you. So this is hardware. So it's a 7-inch, 1280 times 800. That is 16 by 10, not 16 by 9, which is a 720p ish touch screen.
It's 720p equivalent but taller.
LCD panel, not even a shiny screen, guys. They couldn't even get an OLED, guys. Imagine these jokers thinking they can beat the Switch. 400.
Already the Switch has OLED.
400 nit brightness for a handheld is really, really good. Valve values LCD over OLED in the index for its high refresh rate. The screen's only 60 hertz, but you don't need OLED for this. I don't think.
Yeah, that's fine, but you in terms of refresh rate, you can get higher refresh rate OLEDs now. Like it's like kind of the technology's kind of catching up. Like it's still like LCD stuff is still like a much higher refresh rate, obviously, but like they are catching up.
So the targeting frame rate and resolution for this screen will be 720p 60 FPS. So let's move on to graphics. Graphics is really interesting. It is a 4-core, 8-thread Zen 2 CPU, and I talked about the new Ryzen 5000 APUs, and I said, "Oh God, it's Vega graphics again on the the integrated graphics CPU."
Yeah.
And finally, we have, I think, what is the world's first like commercially sort of available RDNA 2 GPU
sort of thing,
Zen 2 APU PC, because technically it's the same sort of architecture as the consoles, but this thing, guys, is essentially just a mini PC. It's 4 cores, 8 threads, Zen 2 CPU. It's 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM. LP meaning low profile, because of course it's going to have to fit in a tiny chassis. It's a lot
like a laptop sort of memory size.
The best way to think about the power of it, guys, is it's a lot more powerful than a Switch, but a lot less powerful than a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. So it's kind of in a gap there.
Wasn't it more than the Series S as well?
So
have more power going to the chips and things.
Digital Foundry thinks the Series S may be a fair comparison, but not like nowhere near as powerful sort of thing. Given that the Series S is going for more like
because the Series S is really good value for money. Like I think Series S is really underlooked.
The Series S is going for 1080p 60 FPS on AAA games, I believe.
How much is the Series S these days?
I think it's
if you buy it,
$299.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's insane.
So the Series S has 20 compute units on its AMD RDNA 2 GPU, whereas the GPU of the Valve Steam Deck has 2 compute units.
Yeah,
so basically. It's like a massively cut down, whereas the Series S is hard locked to 1.5 gigahertz. The Valve Steam Deck is going to fluctuate between 1 to 1.6 gigahertz.
More like a laptop. That is like a lot of these specs are like because laptops can ramp up and down to try and save power.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to that. Whereas the consoles tend to have like a fixed
because they have a fixed power source. Whereas on a Steam Deck, you're going to need to.
It's very similar to PCs as well for that because they have they don't have
you have to think about you have to think about battery life and cooling. Is a big thing.
Yeah, and you got other stuff to power as well. Like you need to power the screen. You got control inputs.
Yeah, so the Series S is like 1080p, 1440p, and 60 FPS. Whereas the Steam Deck's going to be 720p up to 60 hertz.
I in all the stuff I've seen, I'm not sure this is the best place to ask about this, but I guess kind of. But do we know if you it comes with a dock, right? Or you can get a dock for it.
The dock's sold separately.
Yeah.
And you can use any USB hub that you want to use.
My question is though, a lot of laptops these days gain more. They have more power available to the GPU and CPU cores
when it's plugged in.
Once it's plugged in, Do you think this will do the same thing, or do you think it's like
Yeah.
locked to whatever we've already seen?
Yes, and I believe it will. And I also think that even if it's not, people will be able to really quickly
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that
'cause
sort of
it's going to
stuff.
be open, right? Because Linux.
Well, it's Linux. You can put Windows on it. You can put the Epic Games Store on it. You can do whatever you want with it.
Well, I'm just saying that, but yeah,
Um,
I would, if you're trying like control stuff, then why not keep Linux, right? Like it's like this kind of open platform that you can like get like GitHub stuff to try and help you like unlock stuff for you.
I need to turn my light on because it's got dark.
Yeah, we started late. The solar panels are off, by the way, Joe.
What?
Just quick solar panel update. No.
Okay. So you will get better but I think the big thing that's going to be for this is going to be stuff like AMD's Fidelity Super Resolution,
Yes.
checkerboarding, dynamic resolution scaling. I think VRS support has been confirmed as well. So that'll be interesting to see.
That's good. Yeah.
Also, we have AMD FSR updates, more games, GPU open release, Unity, and Unreal support. The source code is now open for AMD's FSR.
That's been released now. That's actually on GitHub, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So, owned by Microsoft, they're going to shut it down, guys. So they're competitor to Steam and the Steam OS.
It's so weird who owns what, right? Like where things are. It's like it's.
This is something I heard on the WAN show, but have you heard of GitHub Copilot?
I've heard. I've heard of it. I don't remember what it is though.
Basically, GitHub's doing a thing now where they've taken all the public code on GitHub and they've trained an AI based on all this code, and it's an AI that's going to help new developers write better code by like suggesting like lines to edit. Code.
Okay. I've actually seen adverts for this on my work laptop because of like obviously I'm writing code. So like I've seen adverts. Yes. I have seen it. I've not seen anyone try and use it though. But it sounds like a really good idea. That's actually really good.
For the next 10 years, I think like all of the new coders and stuff, that stuff's going to be super fucking useful.
I'm going to be honest. I think for existing coders it'd be useful because it will bring the stuff you want more often to the top of your search queue.
Yeah, it depends how good the AI is.
When you're typing in a coding program, it will like try and bring up like your previously functions and like lines of code. If it can bring up stuff that's more relevant to you, like not understands, but like seemingly understands what's more relevant, that's actually really good.
Well, the thing is,
it's just like more power for you to think about other stuff.
The point they brought up was it's going to be like super hard to fight plagiarism with this thing because you could accidentally plagiarize somebody else's code with this AI, and it's going to be impossible. It's going to be impossible for coding teachers to look at like students' work and go, "Oh, did you make this?"
Yeah. I would argue though, in both those cases though, for the teacher's side, that you can just now, in my opinion, if you get them to use this tool, you expect more from them basically than previous students. And in terms of plagiarism, I think you can still look at like the whole code base, not just like it's one thing to like copy a whole function, but that's always going to be possible. But like if all your code is the same, then that's going to be how, like, to be honest, that's kind of how plagiarism works in like news as well, or like in like literature. Like it's not just like one paragraph. It's kind of like you have to like look at multiple entries of like when it happens. Like I still think that's going to be what you can still look out for.
Anyway, let's end this massive tangerine about GitHub.
That is a massive tangerine, but it is very interesting.
It is very interesting. What was I saying? Okay, yeah, so FSR support, as we talked about, it makes massive sense now that Valve has been supporting FSR through like stuff like Dota 2. Apparently it took them like an hour to implement it.
But apparently it's like super easy. Like, that's insane amount of like how easy it is to implement.
Well, guys, I've been saying on the podcast for a long time, kind of suspect that Valve keeps adding like random
stuff.
They keep doing like random Vulkan updates to all of their games. Oh, they keep like pushing more Proton support for Linux. I wonder what they're doing with Steam OS. Kind of suspect.
It's funny. Well, I find it interesting that they worked. I realize that only AMD would like kind of has this business model, but like, I find it interesting that they worked with AMD to like make the like this like
It seems insane.
semi-unique APU.
Yeah, because Valve struggles to have a business relationship with anyone because of how many times they cancel shit.
But
So to have AMD's
AMD
so
has
hot right now, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone wants this GPU, especially in the handheld market, like the Iron Neo and the GPD Win and stuff like that. I think the GPT's Intel and the Iron Neo's on the new like Ryzen 4000 APUs.
I would say though, like I feel like if you're AMD, right, and Valve comes to you like it's asking for like this APU, though, like I feel like
yes.
You'd say yes, but the thing is, what I would say is like it's pretty safe as well, because you know they've been pushing, like it's in their best interest to like to push this through.
The thing is,
they have this games library that they can then run on a handheld.
You know, Valve's good for the money because they have this infinite money printer called Steam.
Yeah, exactly. If they have Steam on a handheld, it's insane.
That's why Valve never makes games and just does like whatever they want. It's because
I think it's kind of cool though when they just like make these sort of things though. Like I feel like they should make games, but yeah, this hardware stuff is really cool.
Because they've tried with other stuff. Like I think to the large extent, the Steam controller was a failure. The Steam Link was a failure. Yep. The Steam machine was a massive failure. They made it with their partnership with like Alienware, right? They were like Alienware machines, and there's different specs.
It wasn't maybe Alienware, but they opened the gates with Alienware.
By the way, Valve saying that they're going to like open source all of their stuff for the Steam Deck. So if anybody else wants to make their own like Steam Deck,
because SteamOS will be open, right? So you can just like make your own little box.
So let's keep breaking this down point by point. So, oh, by the way, guys, Marvel Avengers getting FSR. So,
why did you put that in? By the way,
because you're
a big fan.
We're talking about games that need FSR support so they can run on the Steam Deck, and I know everyone wants to play. The 50 people playing Marvel Avengers will get their Steam Decks out for this one. So.
Yeah, I mean they're biased Steam Deck for that.
Something really interesting to point out: RDNA 2 is capable of ray tracing, so technically the Steam Deck will have ray tracing support. Yeah, it has the compute units to do ray tracing. So
that's interesting. In the IGN on the IGN video, like they were talking about, they didn't like say it will definitely be in there, but they were talking about it as if like it exists and something you can do. So
they said, I'm saying I would love to see how that runs with ray shading. Of course, talks about the variable rate shading support. So let's go into the base model is eMMC, while the more expensive models are NVMe 3.0. I think the SSDs are going to be big differences in speed. They're also claiming the internal storage is not upgradable and that there will be a micro SD card for additional storage. So let's move on to Gabe's emails because we need to... what's the word? When you change something and begins with an A. I want to say... I don't know. Let's read Gabe Newell's emails. An email to Gabe Newell has revealed that the storage in a M.2 2230 slot NVMe SSD. And
it's the same as like a normal laptop one, isn't it?
The interesting thing is the slot is also present on the base version, which doesn't come with an NVMe SSD. And the interesting thing is depending on whether you can just kind of slot your own personal NVMe SSD into there, it would make a lot more sense to just buy the lower end model, given that all of the versions are exactly the same, apart from the NVMe SSD. Because they kept saying, basically throughout the interviews and stuff I read and watched, that the SSD was non-replaceable. And then this email came out, and then the Steam Deck website was changed on the hardware section to say that the I think it's tech specs actually. The tech specs to say all models use socketed 2230 M.2s, not intended for end user replacement.
Yeah, which
So
sounds like it's not soldered in. It's like actually like a normal
it
slot.
sounds like the NVMe is not soldered to the actual board itself.
I'm gonna make a half prediction here. I want to say that they've put the battery if you go look at the back of the Steam Deck, like you take off the back, so I reckon the battery would be right there. You have to remove the battery before you can get access to the NVMe slot.
Well,
That's my guess.
I'm waiting for the Digital Foundry analysis and the Steve from Gamers Nexus to rip one of these apart and.
I'll wait. I want iFixit to rip it apart as well.
Okay.
So
yeah, next up we have controls. So for controls we have gyro aiming. Here's a video of.
That actually seemed more interesting than I thought. I was gonna I thought it was gonna be shit, but like I saw it like in use. I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes a little bit.
So gyro aiming will have six axis IMU. It has the trackpad mouse input things that are a continuation of the Steam controller and the Index controllers to allow you to put mouse input into games that don't actually support it.
Because like the way I was seeing it being used, they were looking around with like the touchpad things, but then they're using like the 6-axis stuff for like fine controls, like in between.
Yeah, it's pretty. And
I thought it was actually a good idea.
There's also another movement type called Flick Stick, which has now been supported in the new game Boomerang X. So if you look up Boomerang X Flick Stick, that's another interesting way to use gyro aiming.
Okay.
And apparently, according to Valve, the trackpads on the Steam Deck have 55% better latency compared to the Steam controller. Compared to the Steam controller, not the Index controller, so I wonder how much better it is than the Index controller if it's literally just the same one as the Index controller, because I think there was a big improvement from the Steam controller and the Index. We'll have to see.
Right.
4 grip triggers on the back, and I've also written down, I guess...
those are programmable, right?
Yeah, and they're programmable to do whatever you want them to do.
Yeah, which I thought was a really good idea.
I guess they're going to have another Scuff Gaming lawsuit incoming. If you remember, the Steam controller had grips on the back that was sued, but that was a controller, not a console PC.
Yeah, I don't know how. To me, that entire lawsuit thing was dumb anyway. I don't know how this is going to feed into it.
Okay, next up we have power. The Steam Deck's onboard has an onboard 40 watt-hour battery, provides several hours of playtime for most games. For later user cases like game streaming, smaller 2D games, or web browsing, you can expect to get the maximum battery life of around 7 to 8 hours. Valve told IGN that you can realistically expect 4 hours of Portal 2 at 720p and 60 frames per second. But if you wanted to play Portal 2 at 30 FPS, you could play it for about 5 to 6 hours. So there's like a use case that I think a lot of people
I will say by their own numbers, considering that they've got like 20 watt maximum in their specs, that means like if you're fully hammering it, you've only got 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that is like consistent with the numbers they've given.
So we have audio Wi-Fi. So it has dual band Wi-Fi radio, so 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. Bluetooth 5.0 support for controllers, accessories, audio, and it's got a headphone jack. That's big news, guys. It's got a headphone jack on it, a full fat headphone jack. I put Bluetooth support as well because there's no Bluetooth support for the Switch, which is kind of an interesting. Not even on the new shiny screen Switch, so it's kind of an interesting comparison.
I don't really understand that because you can use the same antenna, like phones, for example, have been using the same antenna, a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi module for a very long time now. It's very weird that they can't do that.
It's got 2 speakers and dual microphone arrays, so you can shout at people in online video games while you're on a Steam Deck.
In full stereo. You do stereo effects.
I'm shitting on you on the shitter on my Steam Deck. That's what you'll be saying as you play CSGO.
But stereo effects.
So next up we have dock. There's a dock. It's sold separately. We have no idea how much it costs. Which will allow you to connect to external displays. Is there a section for docks that we can look at? Yeah, there we go. There's a dock too.
A Doc too.
Doctor Disrespect 2. He's back, guys.
Yeah.
So this will allow you to connect to external displays. You can plug a monitor in, you can plug USB peripherals, a mouse and keyboard, and power. You can basically use this just like a PC. It's basically just a small PC at this point.
Yeah.
And it's as powerful as, like, I would say at this point, as sort of like low-end mid-range PC. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the
yeah.
graphics power's been like... The graphics power's kind of been estimated to be around a 1050, maybe, is a good way to look at it.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's obviously like just a rough estimate to try and help people get their heads around how powerful this is going to be.
Yeah. You never can do like a one-to-one comparisons. It's always different. But yeah, it's kind of like yeah.
It's in a weird spot, but it's way more powerful than the Switch, but it's way less powerful than the next gen console. So
yeah, even like a Series S, which I still think is really good value for the money.
you can also use a powered USB-C hub if you have one lying around. It connects via a USB-C cable to the hub. If you're using the dock, it doesn't have a front thing in the way of the screen for no reason, like the Switch does. So you can actually use the screen on the dock as like a second monitor. Look at your Steam friends list or whatever.
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
It's a small PC. You plug your mouse and keyboard in. You can Alt Tab. You can browse the web. When Valve were asked by IGN, they said they technically have everything you need to put a VR device on it, but it is not designed for that. So, guys, wait for the YouTube videos coming out where someone plays Half-Life Alyx on a Steam Deck. I cannot wait.
Who do you think is going to do that first?
Two Clips Phillips is my guess.
Do you think?
Yep.
Okay.
Software. So you can play games from where you left it on the PC with cloud save. So they're making basically their own version of the fast suspend resume feature.
Yeah, and then limited like only one game though. Like you can't like have multiple. You can't do that with multiple games at once.
No, not like the good one on the Xbox
and the
Series
PS5.
X. Yeah. Does the Xbox,
which I think is really good,
PS5 have the quick suspend resume feature? I didn't think it did.
If they could just like save that like a separate part on a storage device, I don't know why they couldn't just save sessions like that.
Fast suspend resume feature, so you can suspend the game into a sleep mode and then resume where you left off straight away. It has PC cloud save, so if you play a game on your PC on Steam and then you load it up on the Steam Deck, it will remember where you left off from your PC and your Steam Deck and vice versa.
I can't wait for this to be more of like a standard thing for a PC, just like suspending sessions. Like you can, like,
if the Windows 11 brings us the direct X storage and
but we need something like Steam to support that, so that we can like then choose which game we want to be able to do that with when it gets
and
supported.
They even said they want to develop a cloud saving technique where you can suspend and continue playing the game without pausing or closing it. So you could just like you could just be playing a game on your computer and then cloud save, and then you would just immediately pick up your Steam Deck and start playing it, which is kind of nuts. They said they're looking into ways of doing that. You can still use it as basically a glorified remote play. So you basically have your gaming PC upstairs, and then you go downstairs and you play on the Steam Deck. It's sort of what I do on my phone, where I play Slay the Spire on my phone connected to my PC through the same Wi-Fi, through the Steam Remote Play app on iOS. It's not locked onto one ecosystem. It comes with SteamOS 3.0, which is the brand new SteamOS, which is an Arc-based Linux kernel, I guess.
Yeah,
and it's also using KDE Plasma for the desktop UI. But you can put Windows on it if you want to. You could even install the Epic Game Store if you really wanted to, just to say F you to Valve.
Is there an Epic Game Store for Linux-based systems?
No, but you could definitely do that if you had Windows. And you
I was just thinking because I have a sneaking suspicion that you won't want to run Windows on it. Like I get there's this whole thing of like, but a lot of games will run better through Windows natively. I have this funny feeling though that this it's not going to play nicely.
Okay, here's a question.
That's another one of my predictions.
I would predict exactly the opposite.
Really? You think it's going to run better with Windows?
Almost certainly going to run better than Windows.
I don't think so, because Windows is a hog. Linux isn't.
Right, but you need to understand how Proton works if you're going to say
Yeah,
that.
no, I understand it's a compatibility layer thing, but I feel like if you can't even get like the system to like use resources properly, like that compatibility layer being more efficient or not be existing because you're running it natively on Windows, I don't think that's gonna make a big difference if it just doesn't
So
work.
they're using the new Proton tech. A lot of games without Linux support will be able to run without needing to be ported. They said they're vastly improving Proton's game compatibility and support for anti-cheat solutions by working directly with vendors. Some of the top 10 games on Steam will not work on Linux because their anti-cheat does not work on Linux.
Yeah,
So
but
Valve is
those you'd have to
working.
get Windows for.
Valve is working with it at the moment to try and get the easy anti-cheat and Battle Eye, I believe it is, to work on Linux, so they'll be able to be played on Linux and the Steam Deck. Steam OS 3 is available for free license for any other manufacturer to make a similar product. Very much your point, you're going to take a performance hit, definitely, by...
In terms of like system level, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to take a performance hit by using the Proton compatibility layer to play Steam games rather than you would natively running them on Windows. That is guaranteed.
But my concern is that you then have the system performance hit by just trying to run Windows on this device, which might negate all your natively running.
The device
Windows
is powerful and it's a small form factor PC. It's not like a phone. It's going to be powerful enough to run Windows, and Windows is.
But a lot of PC games run poorly on laptops. But I guess it's more powerful than a lot of laptops, so it should be fine.
Right.
I'm just concerned.
But those PC games aren't trying to be run through Linux.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I get what you're saying, but I think if you took those PC games that run poorly on Windows on a laptop and then tried to run them on Linux, they just wouldn't run in the first place.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's also fair.
And apart from the ease of use from SteamOS and the fact that it comes with it installed, I think there's almost no, unless the space is a concern, which I think is going to be. I think you could dual boot SteamOS.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. I thought dual booting might be a really good idea.
Windows and apart from because this is going to be an issue you're going to run into because this is interesting. If you're going to use Windows 11, it claims you need TPS 2.0 and safe booting.
Yeah.
If you don't know how safe booting works, is safe booting makes sure that when you launch your OS at like the kernel level, it checks all the drivers from your everything that's trying to launch in order to make sure it's legit. So this is like, this wants to launch this one. This is legit. It's got drivers that are recognized by Microsoft, and this will stop like a malicious rootkit from breaking its way into your computer at the very like the ring 0 kernel level.
But if you've partitioned the drive to one for Linux and one for Windows, it shouldn't interfere with each other, dude.
There's a big problem if you have safe boot enabled with dual booting to Linux. There has been
I've heard you can't boot to Linux. Yeah, that's
so that is one thing I'll say. If you want to put Windows 11 on this thing, you may have some safe booting issues.
Off,
but it seems
I know they say you need it, but I thought you could actually turn it off.
It seems like at the moment you don't necessarily need safe booting to. Lots of people have got Windows 11 working without safe booting, but that's just something to keep in mind because not a lot of people are going to be dual booting to Linux on their regular PC from Windows 11, but the Steam Deck is going to be like an actual real big concern about, like, it's an actual real Linux device. Like, there hasn't been a real Linux device in ever.
I have a weird question here. Do you think people are going to try running SteamOS on their main computer?
That's something I want to try and do.
So, I'm curious to see what would happen, but I assume because the compatibility layer just won't be worth it. But I'm curious to know.
I was talking to Halo Andy the other day, and I was saying to him, like, I'm probably not going to get a Steam Deck because it's in the category of stuff that would be fun to play around with, but ultimately is like
we don't need to use it.
I don't need it really. I don't go out anymore. I don't really need a portable computer. I've got a good powerful game PC and
the way I would like use these sort of, I don't need a handheld. I'd actually rather buy like a Series S sort of thing, like just like a portable console or just a laptop.
Yeah, it's like a LAN device.
Yeah.
Okay. What was I saying? But I was saying it's in that category of stuff that was really fun to play around with. That ultimately, I would not buy because it would be too expensive for how much time I'd probably spend up just
Yeah,
not
for
using
sure.
it. And I said, "Oh, I was like, a Raspberry Pi would be really interesting to play around with." My friend, Helen, he said, "I have a Raspberry Pi. My dad bought me one, and I've never opened it. Do you want it?" And
Oh, but
I was like, what if I tried to run SteamOS on a Raspberry Pi?
yeah,
That
that'd
would
be
be
cool.
really interesting to see how
And
that ran.
if it doesn't work, you can use it as a Pi hole.
Yeah, you can use it as a Pi hole. I could just try and run another version of Linux on it.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like Raspberry Pi is the gateway to Linux. It's gotta be.
Yeah, it comes with its own thing, but you can completely remove that and just like put your own SD card in. So
So yeah,
do what you like.
I might fuck around with Linux. I might fuck around with
Um,
SteamOS.
you might probably don't know the answer to this question, but do you know how much RAM that Pi has?
No,
Okay.
I'm not gonna try and. I don't think I'll actually be able to run any games on it other than like
No,
really
it's just
old.
that I've had bad experiences with like low RAM
Mm.
Pis. It's just a lot more headroom when you've got more RAM,
Anyway,
and the newer Pis are
we were
better.
talking about the dock.
Yes, we were, and the
If
software at some point, weren't we?
I forgot to mention, the official dock will be probably expensive. The price is to be decided, but it's due to the fact that it's going to be using high-speed DisplayPort 1.4 or HDMI
Yeah,
2.0 support. You can
yeah,
technically
that's
plug an
pretty good.
8K monitor into this
Yeah,
motherfucker.
that's true. That's true.
So yeah, we're talking about software.
So this is actually my 2.0, not 2.1. Then it's not like the super duper one.
It's 2.0, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
But-
using the new Proton Tech. Okay, let's go into SteamOS will be available for freelance or any other manufacturer to make a similar product. Somebody else out there wants to use SteamOS to make their own Steam Deck. Very interesting.
Wait, it'd be a
Um,
free license, not an open source license.
mhm.
Okay, that's like one step above that. Okay, interesting.
Pricing. So let's go back to the main page. Let's talk about pricing. So we're going to be doing this in Great British Pounds, not Freedom Units,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Because I'm English. Sometimes I say things in dollars, but just because it's so hard to find out the actual price of something in my currency, so I just go, "Oh fuck it, I kind of know how much a dollar is."
But we have the numbers in our own
We
currency, so
have
we're
the
pretty
numbers because you
easier.
can. I just love that you can just buy it through Steam. Like,
Yeah, I know it doesn't make. Yeah, I feel like it's a weird. Like to me, like, it kind of feels a bit weird buying hardware through Steam, but it is really nice
it
when
was just
it
it was
actually
such a big
works.
culture shock when you saw like the Steam controller and the Steam Link and you buy it through Steam.
Yeah,
But then it was like
that's how I bought mine. So
the Index or the Vive buying that through Steam. It's like because
yeah,
you could to get for the Steam Deck you could technically like trade stuff on TF2 or CS:GO, make a bunch of money on like you could technically get a Steam Deck from trading cards technically.
yeah, a lot of grinding on that and like
Uh,
stock trading card market. You have to do a spiffing Brit and break the market
Steam
to get
trading
the money
cards are
for it.
totally broken. Is this
Well,
exploit?
he was buying all the cucumbers on Steam last time I saw him, so I don't know what that
So
means.
349 Great British Pounds for a 64 gigabyte base model with eMMC memory. The only difference in the versions is the memory. All of the hardware is the same, and the
I
final model, the £569, comes with a
I
premium anti-glare etched glass.
if you're going for say like you buy the base model and like, you don't buy your own SSD, like I assume you would have to load SteamOS yourself onto the new SSD, right?
Yeah, I guess so. So let's go into what an eMMC memory is and how that differs from an NVMe SSD. So an eMMC memory is PCIe Gen 2.1. From what I can tell, eMMC means embedded multimedia card. So it's memory
It's like
made.
an SD card in a way,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's memory made from NAND flash, and it's basically
Yeah,
like a think of it basically like an SD card fused to the device.
yeah, yeah,
So it's mostly found in phones, cheap laptops. It's cost
yeah.
efficient. It's cost effective hardware. Like I believe the Nintendo Switch uses eMMC
But
memory
that
for its
but I find it
memory.
interesting because they're almost always in like before they're like always in like 8 GB, 30 GB, 64 GB. Now recently they're now 64,
Yeah.
128, and that's like the biggest it goes as far as I can see, like
So
128 ones.
the transfer speed tops out at 400 megabits a second, 7 megabytes, right? Similar to the SATA SSD.
Yes.
But the eMMC storage usually operates with fewer memory gates than an SSD, meaning it can still deliver at a similar speed, just not at the same volume, which is why it's usually much smaller storage. Much more common is the 32 gigabyte or the 64 gigabyte model. So,
what is Valve's idea for like if you buy the base model? Like, are you expected to have another drive?
so
it's not very big.
You're basically expected to. It has a micro SD card slot.
Yeah, they bring external drive or something.
You basically they're expecting you to buy micro SDs and then fill them up with games and then slot them in and out, sort of like a DS or a Switch, you know.
Yeah. That's actually that's probably a good way of doing it for like games that like little indie games that don't need like quick. Don't load too many assets.
Or
like,
you could just have
that'd be really cool.
You could just have an SD card full of like emulators.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
So the 459 version, so it's £100 more pretty much. But basically, there's a big jump in performance between NVMe and eMMC memory. The loading times difference is going to be massive when it comes to these games. There's an exclusive Steam community profile bundle, which I find hilarious.
That's I'm looking for that one, Joe. That's gonna be the one I'm gonna choose. I think
it's the TF2 hats of like pre-order bonuses where they just go, fuck it, just throw something in for.
I'm gonna go for the one up and get the exclusive virtual keyboard thing, Joe. That's what I'm looking for.
Don't leak the next one. 569. So that's a 250 gigabyte NVMe SSD, which is. Not a lot for AAA gaming, but if you're playing indies and small 2D games, then that's probably fine.
Yeah, it's the same space I've got on my phone. It's pretty good for like indie game sizes.
The thing is, they showed off you like playing Portal 2, and I feel like Portal 2 is not like a crazy small game even. I think so. Look, because Portal 2
like 14 gigabytes, isn't it?
So it's 8 gigabytes. It says on the install page.
Okay, is that downloaded size?
That's
or the extracted size?
That is on Steam.
Okay. I swear when it like fully unpacks, it's like 14 gigabytes though. But I might think of something.
Why don't I check my Steam library?
Oh, you got it installed.
Yep.
Well, that won't include your workshop stuff, will it?
Oh, I don't know actually.
I think it might separate these days, but I think before it kind of.
Mine says 11.82 gigabytes.
Yeah, I swear mine.
So that's
12.
So that I would say Portal 2 is probably the average game you'd have. So if I was going to have it, I would play Slay the Spire, which is probably like 500 megabytes.
Oh my god, Hades would be great on this.
Hades is the one that they showed. Like
that's what I was thinking of. Is that looked great? Like god,
that was what they were using to advertise it. Another one that was interesting was they were showing off Doom Eternal, which I was like interesting.
That's a no from me, but sure.
I fucking love Doom Eternal, so I'd love.
Yeah, but I'm not playing on a handheld.
Another really interesting thing to point out is that it's a mini PC. You can put mods on it.
I didn't think about that actually. Yeah, that's great.
So
Skyrim modded Skyrim. They didn't show that off.
Fallout New Vegas modded on a fucking handheld would be
that would be really cool.
Amazing.
That's not too big. Yeah,
I haven't done a tangent forever, but I currently have 121 hours in Fallout New Vegas. I've been playing so much. I fucking love that game. So it's amazing.
You've done playing it now, right?
I've basically done main story, all the side quests, all the DLC. So
would you say it's the best Fallout game?
From the ones I've never played Fallout 1 or 2, but yes, from the ones I've played.
But people like 3 though. So
I've played every Fallout game past Fallout 3. So I've played Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout Shelter.
Played 76.
Fallout 70. I've played Fallout Shelter, Tony. So
you forgot about that. Oh, don't
guys, I've got 18 hours of Fallout 76, and I feel like I never want to play it. So,
wait, are you already done playing it? Are you?
I can't go into a rant about fucking Fallout 76 now.
Okay, we're gonna probably tangerine about it though, right?
Well, we're gonna have a tangerine, and the episode will be me saying how much I love New Vegas and how much I dislike Fallout 76. But
Okay, that's good. I'm looking forward to that episode.
anyway, this is your regularly sponsored Tangerine, brought to you by the
Yeah, our
Inbetween
second big
podcast.
tangerine of the podcast. Yeah.
So yeah, the final model, of course, is double the size, so it's half a terabyte SSD, and of course, it also still has that PCIe Gen 3.4 NVMe SSD.
I find it really weird. Like I realize that NVMe SSDs aren't that cheap, but you can get a terabyte for the price difference from the mid range to the
yes.
high end. That's
you can definitely get it in that form factor as well. The 2,230.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I was making sure it's the same form factor. Like I'm talking about like laptop, like little tiny square one that you can get.
Which is why I'm like,
they're not that more expensive.
Which is why I'm thinking, if it's not too hard to replace SSD, I feel like the smallest one and get your own 1 terabyte NVMe SSD just makes the most sense.
If you need help to do this, just go to the Steam forum to get help on modding your Steam Deck.
We're gonna basically races. So this, I'll talk about this after I talk about the scalping stuff. This race is December 2021. So it's coming out at the end of this year around Christmas time. Guys, get your Christmas list ready. Santa, I want a Steam Deck.
Wait, hang on. Do you do Christmas? I don't do Christmas lists.
I can't. I write. You know, for the longest time, people keep asking me what I want for my birthday.
To be fair, that's a good use.
My answer is always I don't know. So I've started a notepad file called Things I Want, and I then write down a list of things of just if I think about something small, it's like I'd like some wireless earphones to wear when I'm biking. I write that down. Then if somebody's like, "What do you want for your birthday or Christmas?" I go, "I kind of wanted to get this." That's a good way to do it. I don't know.
I have a couple of friends actually that they have a Christmas list, and I'm like, I think they make it public so people can see if someone's already bought it or something like that. This is what one of my friends does.
I just I rank what's the most expensive thing, and then I make my brother buy that for me. Because he makes the most money. I'm like, this one's expensive.
He's rolling in it.
He's doing well. Daniel can buy him the expensive thing. I'll get him to buy me Half-Life Alyx.
Can you get to buy him a new Yeti?
I was like, I want a cheap USB cord. I'll get my poor teacher sister who's got a bad salary to get me that. What?
Yeah. Get a new microphone.
I told him the Yeti's fucked up and he could have it back. And I also told him half the things in my room are his and he's never bought them back. So
that is true. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Half the things in my room are this monitor's my brother's, this keyboard's my brother's, the Yeti and the headphones are my brother's.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want them. It's yours.
This Vive, it's my brother.
Oh yeah, I've got that. Yeah,
Oculus Dev Kit 2 is Daniel's. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you get a brother who buys things and then forgets about them, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, you want to make a lot of money, so don't worry about it and just leave it. Yeah, I'll leave it in your room.
Anyway, so price conclusion. If you don't care about Switch exclusives, the Steam Deck is a much better price per performance than the Switch right now, especially the OLED shit they're pulling. We'll talk about that after we finish talking about the good console. The other handheld PCs, such as the GPD Win and the Aya Neo, are around £800. It was hard to find the pricing of them because I believe the Aya Neo is only available through early bird Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's not fully released, is it, properly? So it's not.
Yeah, but if you're going to compare, if you're going to compare them, the Aya Neo and the GPD Win are more expensive.
Does this those guys down? Has Valve completely killed this, or do you think there's still a market for those other guys?
Well, given that Valve's hey, anyone can make a Steam Deck, I think it.
Do you think they'll use the same? That's true.
I mean, the Aya Neo is already using the AMD APU.
Yeah,
I think the GPD Win is using the Intel APU because of its superior Xe graphics.
They
But
don't have
that's
to like pay a licensing fee to like sell these things. That makes a lot of sense. And it's in Valve's interest.
the reason Intel was so far ahead was because we only had Vega graphics on the APU,
Yes.
but we actually have an RDNA chip that will fit on a form factor that's there's a portable console. So
yeah.
this is going to be really interesting. This, even if you're not going to get one of these, this is just really exciting tech. That is what this is. It's just very exciting.
If you're a Valve fanboy, this is great.
No, I think it's just really exciting tech for anyone.
No, genuinely, I think it's actually really good for PC.
Another thing to mention is the joysticks are inline instead of offset like the Xbox controller. Depends if you like that sort of thing. I think it makes sense given the trackpad usage.
You don't you can't take the controls off like the Switch. That's a good thing.
That's true. So let's move on to scalping. So they have anti-scalping measures for the first reservation. So I think it ends today, unfortunately. So if you're just hearing about this, you've already missed your anti-scalping reservation point for the Steam Deck. But to reserve a Steam Deck, in order to stop scalpers, they require a £5 deposit for the first 48 hours, and the Steam account requires a purchase on Steam prior to June 2021 to stop people creating lots of bots. And then after the scalpers, people probably don't have Steam accounts that have random purchases on them for their bots. So,
didn't the reservations go through the roof or something like that? When they like,
yeah, I think it was. I don't know how many of these things they've made. Gabe Newell says he thinks he's going to. He says he wants to sell 1 million of these at least. So
I think he might sell 1 million of those.
These are really popular right now. If that's just a result of scalpers trying to buy them, thinking they're going to be popular, or whether they will actually be popular, they are selling like hotcakes right now. I believe like Rocco from Mega 64 was saying that he wanted to get one of these, but he didn't really play on Steam. He played on console. But it turned out he had a Steam account he gifted somebody a game in 2013, and that counted
nice.
to be able to put down a deposit. So, guys, if you've ever made a single purchase randomly, like gifting someone a random copy, you will be eligible for this deposit. But if you don't worry. If you haven't played Steam gaming before, and for some reason you want to get the Steam Deck and play Steam games, after the 48-hour window, that's going to be open to anyone who doesn't have a Steam account that's made a purchase prior to June 2021.
Which I guess is now, right?
So that's for people who don't game on Steam, and for people and for scalpers, basically.
Yeah, scalpers and non-Steam players. Yeah, here it's open now.
The line's open for you. Scalpers are already selling their lines in the queue on eBay, basically. Which is obviously was going to happen. It's sad to see.
Well, the thing is, we have to remember one thing. Like, there are dedicated scalpers that doing like mass scalping. There's also some people like may genuinely have wanted it and then go, "Oh, actually, I could sell my reservation. That's actually making a lot of money. I'm willing to wait for longer." Like some people are coincidental scalpers, I guess.
The thing with this though is, instead of the graphics card one, which is really hard to track. If eBay was to work with Valve, they could shut this down super quick.
Here's a question for you: do eBay actually have are you allowed to sell non-physical goods for eBay? Like, this isn't a physical thing. This is a reservation.
Yeah, I believe so. They could even just say they could even just sell a piece of paper if they wanted to, with the code written on it.
Okay, fair enough.
I think you can sell anything on eBay, but the thing is, eBay has no incentive to work with Valve because they
unless they make money, like they partner up and make money or something.
Because they're making money off these transactions, they wouldn't otherwise, because they would be going straight through Steam. But the thing is, if eBay was
Valve made a deal where they it's the profits or something, that would probably incentivize
I think sites like eBay need to step up here and just say there's a big scalping issue. And we can do something about it rather than just sitting with their heads in the sand going, we don't care, we're making money.
If they don't step up, something bad will come, that the government will implement something that they won't like. I'll put it that way. Like, if it keeps getting bad, people will start complaining to the local, or even their MP or whatever you own, whatever country you're in, and eventually they will implement something for them, and like that it will probably be not the way they want it to be. So I think they should do something now.
Anyway, so the conclusions. I thought about all the scenarios for what I would do with a Steam Deck. Just as
if you would buy it.
So if I was going to buy a Steam Deck, let's say I purchased a Steam Deck, what would I get and what would I do with it? And I think I would probably get, because I would honestly want to wait to see if you can put your own NVMe SSD in the base model.
I think waiting for like a teardown for sure first before buying it,
because that
sensible.
would be the most. But let's say that it's non-replaceable. I would get probably the 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD one.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I thought, what would be my use case for playing on it? And all I can think of is when I'm a passenger sitting in a car waiting for my, whoever's driving me around to come out of the shops. I usually watch YouTube videos on my phone. Instead, I would probably just play Slay the Spire on a Steam Deck. That's the big change that would happen in my life.
You used to dog sit.
Yeah. True.
Could you not do it then as well? Like, you didn't have a PC, right? I assume you were on your phone then as well.
There was a Switch there, Tony. I didn't need.
Wait, what?
I literally. Do you remember I showed on Tangerine? I made a recording of me playing Pokemon. Let's Go. It wasn't Let's Go. It was the one after Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
Pokemon. I don't remember. They keep releasing the same game over and over again. I can't.
That is a big problem. It does make it hard to remember. Yeah.
But but it would be cool. Like if I went to my brother's house, I could like play on it, or I could. It would be a really cool LAN device.
I have a question. So you go over to Dogsit, and there's the Switch and the Steam Deck. Which do you pick up?
Probably the Switch, because it has exclusive games I can't play on my computer at home.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, I still kind of want to Switch because there's games that I'd actually want to play.
But I refuse to pay Nintendo tax.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah,
the Switch is also useful. I don't know. I kind of have a soft spot for the Switch.
My use case, if I was gonna use this thing, I would play Slay the Spire. I'd probably play Portal 2. Like literally, I would be one of the people who would just play workshop maps on Portal 2 because I love Portal 2, and I would probably play stuff like modded New Vegas and stuff.
Slay the Spire's on your phone now, right? You don't need one of these for Slay the Spire.
Yeah, you can get Slay the Spire in iOS and Android. I don't know if it's out on Android yet.
Yeah, so you have to pay for it, right?
I believe it's like £10 for Slay the Spire.
That's pretty good.
It's not like crazy expensive.
Yeah, that's really bad. For what you get, that's amazing.
Let's have a look. It's $9 on the App Store. Price. How much
that's like £7 if it was 1-to-1 to the UK.
Probably no. It's £10 on the. It never is anymore.
Okay. Fuck you, Apple. Whoever.
It's number 2 in card games on the.
Oh my god! Why is it more pounds than it is dollars? The pound is better than the. Fuck off. Well, I don't want to say better, but you get more. A pound is more than you get more than $1 per pound.
You can get Forager
I think the dollar is stronger than a pound.
You can get Forager on the iOS as well. That was another game I'd play like crazy.
That's good. How much is that?
That's £8. It says it's designed for iPad though, so it'd be interesting how.
Okay, fair enough. I think you still get away with it if you got a good screen. As I say, I realized that we've had this time of who would there's been this big problem that people don't. This is a massive Tangerine, by the way.
Yeah.
We don't know how to do. People aren't buying games because there's so many free games, but I'm genuinely considering buying games on like Android or I got an Android phone, so I can't buy on iOS. But I actually would buy remember on the E3 somebody looked like the Nier game on the phone. Like if that turns out to look really good, I might actually pick it up.
Don't you guys have phones? When you guys play Diablo Immortal on your phone?
That's just a cash grab.
Oh, really interesting point. You know, because you can play Android apps natively through Windows 11.
Yeah.
You could put Windows 11 on the Steam Deck and natively play Diablo Immortal on your Steam Deck.
I didn't even think about that. Okay. So
Guys,
you play the
don't you
mobile
guys
device
have-
to rule them all.
don't
An
you-
open source.
Don't you guys
Steam
have
Deck.
Steam Decks? Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh my god! Genuinely though, I'm really excited for like an open source Switch equivalent. That I think that is actually a really good idea. I realize there's been like other competitors, but I do think like this solves the other problems that the other competitors don't really solve, in my opinion.
I'm like sort of on the edge about
But
this like
I'm
kind of
concerned about something.
I could see a world where I would get a Steam Deck, but the thing is,
Yeah.
I still just have too many questions. I'm not going to spend an extra £200.
Oh yeah, there's no point.
if I can
there's no
save
point
a bunch of
reserving
money.
a spot. That's ridiculous.
But the thing is, I think people are already getting pushed to Q1 on the reservations.
Yeah.
So that by the time like the product to come out, I'd seen reviews, I've seen whether it's worth buying. It would
Yes.
seeing the index stock and how that comes back into stock. By that point, I wouldn't be able to get my hands on one for like years, and then by that point, who's to say if they're even making them? They may just get bored and make brain-computer interfacing machines. So,
Then you can reserve that one, Joe.
yep. Also,
Just saving your money.
This is pure baseless speculation that Valve usually releases a game to promote their new hardware, so they could release a game that ran on the Steam Deck. And
like natively Linux can.
If, for example, I don't know, they were to announce another VR headset with a standalone wireless headset, like an Index wireless. For example, it would be a good idea to, I don't know, say if you had a game like Citadel that's been rumored to be announced, which is basically like a VR game where you play with people not playing in VR who are playing the games. You had one person in the room playing on this new Index device, and then you had about 4 people playing on Steam Decks, also who were playing on the like actual game itself. All in like a LAN play sort of thing scenario. I could see them releasing a game to advertise that.
Yeah, I do think something will be. I'm not entirely. I don't know if there'd be a game or something. But I feel like when is this thing actually going to be released?
December,
the end of the year. Yeah, I feel like it'll be an update to a game, not a game itself.
Well, the thing is that they've made a massive push for hardware, and there seems like there's a bunch of unannounced hardware at Valve still, and they're still developing more hardware. So it's like this isn't the last hardware we've heard from Valve. There's more stuff coming for sure, and I think like you look at stuff like the Index, you look at like Half-Life Alyx and stuff like that. Like Valve likes to push games with their new technology, so it'll be interesting to see if we actually get a game to promote this tech. Sort of thing.
I would love to have a game to promote it, but I just have a funny feeling that considering the timescale, they haven't got something.
So we had like the lab for the Vive. We had like
you think it'd be like a smaller game?
Well, I mean, I don't think
experience, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like, if they do like a small experience, they do a full Half-Life Alyx style game. Oh, interesting tidbit: the Half-Life Alyx logo on Steam, after the Steam Deck was announced, randomly got a lambda sign in the corner. They changed the icon for some reason. Guys, Half-Life 3 confirmed, guys.
What the fuck?
I don't know, but if you go to the Half-Life Alyx store page now.
Is there this thing where they release a tiny update knowing that someone will see it because people are obsessed with that?
Yeah, there's now a lambda in the corner of the Half-Life Alyx, which could be like, this is a Half-Life universe game, and then the next Half-Life universe game will be Citadel for the Steam Deck and the Index 2.
It's going to be Artifact 2, I think.
Guys, this is pure baseless speculation based on nothing, by the way, but it's just really interesting to talk about games that will probably never exist because Valve cancels everything. What was I going to say? I don't remember.
Conclusions, will we?
Are you getting a Steam Deck, Tony? Tell me.
Probably the same. I probably won't for the same reason you're not getting one. So I don't really have many use cases for it.
Well, you could just when you need to drive into work, just take your hands off the wheel for a little bit and just play a
Yeah,
couple.
yeah. I'll buy a Tesla and
What are the names of some of those games you buy on Steam? Anime Girls or whatever it's called.
yes,
Play one of those.
Anime Girls Big Tit Edition.
Yeah.
Big breast waifu.
People,
It's something
there's
like
been some
that.
funny memes recently where people have been like showing someone with a Steam Deck at a party, and then they just like pulling up some of the random catalog of Steam. They'll pull up like Honey Pop, or someone's playing like someone's just like smashing each other with pans in TF2 on their Steam Deck at a party or stuff like that. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've seen a weird thing at the moment, like people can someone rate my Steam library, and it's like they got like one anime game, and they're like, no, that's a bad library. It's,
Yeah.
like, is that a thing, or is that just like a small thing I've seen? I don't know.
Okay. Oh, that's what I was going to say. On the Steam Deck website, they've been, I think, like they showed like an image of the G-Man smoking a pipe.
What?
Yeah, there's like tons of like hidden Easter eggs on the password to get the name is Gordon on the when you sign in the name is Gordon, the password is Half-Life 3, I believe, or something.
Half-Life 3 confirms.
Yeah. Hang on, I think there's one page where there's an image of the G-Man smoking a fucking pipe, and it just doesn't exist. Guys, the G-Man smokes. It's canon now.
It's canon. No.
Where is it?
Dear.
Can't find it, but it's on here somewhere. Whenever I type, okay, this is something Linus and Luke said when they were talking on the WAN show about this. They said, why did they call it the Steam Deck? Because every time I type it in, it brings up the Elgato Stream Deck, and I'm also experiencing that right now.
Yeah. On the I think it's a Digital Foundry video or the IGN video. Like one of the top comments is when I type in Steam Deck, Google is like, did you mean Stream Deck?
So they had
maybe they should have Google searched it to see if it would have overridden that.
So they have because they had the Steam Pal crossed out on a notepad, and then underneath it says the Steam Deck, like because people knew it was the Steam Pal was the code name for it, and
right.
And then there's like this picture of the G-Man smoking a pipe that's on there. That's like really strange, but is obviously just a funny non-canon meme. But then every Half-Life fans be like, Half-Life 3 confirmed. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
No, this is expanded universe.
And as a rabid Valve fanboy as myself, all I gotta say is Half-Life 3 confirmed. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yeah.
Anyway. Let's talk about the Switch OLED. The Switch has got a shiny screen. This is so fucking disappointing based on all the leaks that are coming out. Because basically, if you don't know...
None of it came from Nintendo, though. Like, it was all kind of speculation, right?
Yeah, so we really thought the Nintendo E3 conference they were going to have a refresh on the console. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch came out in, 2017?
Yeah.
Was it? I think, the time between the Wii and the Wii U is like shorter now than the Switch and the Switch OLED.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Wii U came out in 2012, and the Wii release is 2006. Well, maybe it wasn't. Wait, how long's it been since Nintendo Switch? I think it's maybe around the same amount of time or similar. It came out in 2017, and now it's coming out in almost almost 5 years difference.
Do you find it insane? Like the Switch did not even come close to competing with like the PlayStation. I guess even
no.
Does it compete with PlayStation 3? I was going to say PlayStation 4, but doesn't. Sure.
No. Nintendo's always been a generation behind, but that's because they put
No, but I'm saying that they're basically 2.5 generations behind, yet it's still selling like hotcakes in this day and age. Like, it's insane to me, like how much of the market they have.
It's
because
not
competing hardware.
It's because it's the best right now.
It's the best experience. It's not the hardware. It's not everything.
right now the Switch is the best portable console, and I
Yeah,
think that's just not. The DS was very popular for that same reason, and they
yeah.
kept
I love the
releasing like
DS. The
because
DS Lite
that's
is what I
another
have.
thing to point out. People are saying like the Switch OLED is the next generation Switch. They're not going to make any more models. How many fucking DSs did they print? There was the 3DS, the DS,
Well, they had the
Lite,
original
the
bulky DS. Then
2DS.
they had the DS Lite, then the 3DS.
I'm gonna
So
look up.
I have a black DS Lite.
So we have the Nintendo DS, the Nintendo DS Lite, the Nintendo DS, and then it's got an I next to it. The Nintendo
Oh, yeah,
DSi,
there's a
the
vehicle,
Nintendo
wasn't there?
DSi XL, and
I
then
don't
we
know. Yeah,
have
that's just, okay. Those are just bigger screens
the
and bigger
Nintendo
models. So
3DS models, the Nintendo
yeah,
3DS,
that's a
the Nintendo
proper.
3DS XL, and then there
Yeah.
was like a Nintendo 2DS, and then there
You
was the
know how
Nintendo 3D.
you know how everyone keeps saying, like,
The new Nintendo 3DS, and then there was the new Nintendo 2DS
yeah,
XL. Like,
yeah.
Nintendo still has an opportunity to go, hey, this is the OLED model. Oh, by the way, we're going to do a Switch OLED Pro, which
Yeah,
has
but
better specs.
back then though they had like refreshes like every year
Mm.
and a half, or if not every year. They're kind of steps away from
Opium.
doing that now. They're kind of doing other weird
Anyway,
stuff every year instead. So yeah,
basically,
I would love to see a better Switch,
the
but
only real feature of the Switch OLED is it's got a slightly larger 7-inch OLED screen.
the 3 looks better.
It has an official Ethernet plug now,
Yeah, that's great.
which is good because previously you would have to use Wi-Fi to play like incredibly ping-based fights such as Super Smash Bros.
Yeah,
Ultimate.
its Wi-Fi card wasn't very good. Like, so it wasn't
Although
processing
you
very
could
well.
get a $5 docked feature a wired Ethernet plug docked feature upgrade that Smash players were
Right.
using already, which is like a $5 plug. So you could get a third-party thing already. So
It's
this,
like you've already got a Switch. There's no point upgrading. Which is
yeah,
very much like the DS Lite. You already had a DS. There's no point upgrading.
that's what it seems like right now. So Nintendo's
But it just seems like it's so long in between the original DS and this, like opposed to before. It's like quicker differences.
So
Quicker new stuff.
Nintendo's confirmed the new OLED Switch does not have a new CPU or more RAM. It's the exact same as the previous Switch model. It's still using the Tegra X1, the 4-year-old ARM-based chip from Nvidia that is stopping production soon. So it's like,
Right.
what? Why the fuck are they still using this chip when it's not going to exist very soon? It seems weird that basically all of the biggest benefits of this models are basically all handheld related. So then they're competing directly with the handheld centric Lite model instead of focusing on docked features because there's no like. It's in docked. The only change is the Ethernet plug. That's literally the only docked change to this model.
Which we point out you get around with the older version.
Yeah. And apparently the Nintendo Switch OLED is estimated to cost only $10 per unit more to make than the original Switch. So they're not taking...
Considering how inexpensive a lot of these components are now, yeah.
So it's not like, they're gonna be... It's not costing them a lot to make this version. It's just, I don't know who this is for.
Are they going to stop making the old version? Is the only OLED version going to be available?
So the only reason you would want an OLED screen is if you don't already own a Switch, you're going to get a Switch anyway, and you're like, I'm someone who's going to game a lot on the go.
Will I even be able to buy a non-OLED Switch?
Secondhand.
Because at some point I couldn't buy a normal DS. I could only buy a DS
I know someone who is a rabid Nintendo Animal Crossing fan. They literally just bought a secondhand Switch so they could start again on Animal Crossing. I'm like,
oh my god,
this is fucking insane. Like, why are you buying? Animal Crossing doesn't let you have separate saves, so people are literally buying Switches to make new islands on Animal Crossing.
Tags.
It's just like, I understand I'm a fanboy from stuff, but like,
no, that's
Nintendo fans.
That's too far.
I just on another level, like,
yeah,
like literally, I admit I'm like a bit of a Valve fanboy, but it's just insane. So on the
Well-
previous estimates of teardowns of the Switch components, they put the total cost at around $275. So at $300 sales price, Nintendo's making about $40 on every unit sold. And if the estimates for the Switch OLED are right, they've just doubled that to $80 on every Switch OLED sold. Not bad. So they've doubled their profits by releasing the OLED model.
That's insane.
So
Yeah, I feel like they're printing money.
it's just kind of Nintendo. They're doing the bare minimum, and Nintendo, or I would say like even below the bare minimum now.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Nintendo's fans just
totally.
like, oh well, I'm gonna fucking buy it so I can play my second Animal Crossing island in a shiny screen. It's just like, oh my god, like this. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I've spent money. I've spent money on dumb shit before, so I can't like just call like people can buy whatever the hell they want, but it just
that's true,
it doesn't
but
seem worth it at all.
I can still like look and go, that doesn't seem worth it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, guys. So if you're going to get a Switch OLED, I think it's like, I think the original Switch is still like £270 maybe in British pounds price UK. Let me check it for you, because this one is going to be £309 MSRP.
Yeah, that's quite a lot considering what the hardware is. Like, I swear you can almost replace your own Switch. Like, you like replace your old Switch as a screen with an OLED at this point. And I realize that's
yeah.
very
So
difficult,
if your MSRP for the Nintendo Switch right now is £280, and then the Switch OLED is £309. So I don't think it makes any sense if you're going to buy the console new. It doesn't make any sense not to get the OLED edition if you don't already own a Switch, and Nintendo makes more money off it, so they're like, yeah, cool, buy the OLED edition.
Well, I have a funny thing. They're gonna stop making the old ones and eventually just run out of stock.
So if you're someone who's like, I really want to get a Switch to play the exclusives, I get it. There's some really great exclusives for the Switch. You're probably better off buying the OLED edition in case you play it handheld. If you're someone who's only going to play docked, you won't see a benefit from the OLED screen. You might as well, but at that point, you should probably just buy a second-hand original Switch, because it will be so much cheaper, or even like a refurbished one, because they're quite good.
Yeah.
It's quite easy to refurbish Switches.
The only hope I have with this, but I don't think will happen, is that this will lower the cost or lower the price of the second-hand market, but I don't think it will.
It will for a little bit, but given that given that Nintendo likes to artificially create supply and demand, the supply and demand for the original one's going to go crazy when they stop literally making the chip. Because you see with like all the old Nintendo consoles, like, the price goes down, down, down. It's like, wait, I can't buy this anymore. Up, exclusive. There's only a few of these in the world.
Even there's no point of owning it, but yeah.
Like, if I was going on eBay UK and I was like, I want to buy a Nintendo 64, how much would that cost me on average?
I find it insane that they did this supply and demand thing for no reason, because they don't see these. They don't see the returns on this. Like, they can still ask for the same asking price. It's just changing the second-hand market. They don't see any returns on it. I just don't understand. The only return they have on it is if they try and keep second-hand market as high as possible, then people might as well buy a first-hand one, like actually buy it new. But that's like the only benefit.
See, like, Nintendo 64s on eBay right now have gone for £70, £100, like £70, £100, £40, £50. Like, it's still like, yeah, it's
higher than you'd expect.
Yeah, given that,
but it is also like quite an old and like stale thing now, so that's not actually too bad.
The price will go down until it hits a point where it becomes nostalgic to own a Switch, and then it will go massively up again. So
nostalgia tax will eventually be the thing that.
And if there's something that Nintendo fans this is definitely nostalgic.
Yeah, even if it doesn't make too much sense for the average person. Yeah, Nintendo fans.
Tony, I said We'll talk about quick news for half an hour, then we'll talk about the Steam Deck for like an hour, and I think that's come
Yep.
true. So let's end this
Yep.
with a Petermology tweet and let you people go.
Hang on, this is the most important timestamp. Let me just.
Yeah, the Petermology tweet. Put it down.
It's what everyone's been waiting for.
The portal effect in Ratchet really only uses about 10% of the SSD. I would have used 100% and allowed players to warp in and out of any game installed on their PS5.
Oh my god.
That would be next. Imagine
Peter.
Rift apart. You go to a Rift. Next up, you're inside Bloodborne. You're inside. Was it the Dark Souls?
God of War.
Not Dark Souls. Demon Souls remaster. You're inside God of War.
Yeah.
You're inside Uncharted. Although the Rifts do
Alright.
actually do that stuff sort of thing because they do like. There's an ability that opens a rift and drops something on someone's head, and it has ones where you can like drop Uncharted stuff on people's head.
Yes.
And like the robotic dinosaurs from Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff. But
Yeah.
That's the end of the podcast. You can check us out and everything in between podcast on YouTube, twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live like we are right now. And
right live.
of course, at Scorn2000 if you want to follow me on Twitter for some reason, but I always forget to post this. There is literally no point. That is the end. Goodbye.
Bye.